Can't undo what was done in the past. It is what it is, but I'm focusing on how can we get this thing done.
In a story you'll see only on News 4, Adam Tuss sits down with Maryland's Transportation Secretary, Paul Wiedefeld. You might remember that name. He says what his top priority list is.
You're watching the News 4 Rundown.
And thanks for spending some time with us on the News 4 Rundown, our new live 7:30 time slot. I'm Tommy McFly.
And I'm Leon Harris. It is Monday, May 8th, and we begin with a look at some of the top stories we're following. A D.C. firefighter is dead after police say his neighbor shot him early this morning. He's been identified as 30-year-old Carl Braxton. Charles County deputies say another man witnessed some type of fight between Braxton and a woman and then stepped in and shot Braxton.
A U.S. postal worker was accused in another shooting of a woman outside the distribution center on Brentwood Road. Investigators say the two were in some sort of an argument this morning before the worker allegedly opened fire. The victim is now hospitalized with serious injuries, and the shooting happened in a spot that is for employees only and not open to the public.
Title 42 is set to expire Thursday. That's the emergency public health rule that allows the U.S. to expel migrants without the usual legal reviews to prevent the spread of COVID. The Biden administration says that it is prepared for the expected migrant surge at the southern border. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says that he is deploying his own border force to hotspot areas where immigrants enter illegally.
If you live near or drive past homeless encampments in the district, you might be thinking the numbers have been growing, and newly released data backs that up. It shows, Leon, that there are more people experiencing homelessness in the district now than at any time over the last 7 years.
That's right. News 4's Mark Seagraves takes a look at the numbers and why Mayor Bowser believes that the migrant buses are part of the reason for the increase.
There are encampments like these across the district, some big, some small. Thousands of people living on the streets of D.C. with no home of their own. For the first time since 2016, the number of people living on the streets has gone up. After spending millions of dollars on shelters, housing, and vouchers, Mayor Bowser quietly released the results of the most recent point-in-time count for those experiencing homelessness in the nation's capital. Last year, D.C. saw the lowest count in 17 years. In 2022, the number of people experiencing homelessness in D.C. went down by almost 14%. But this year, that number went up by more than 11%. Nearly 5,000 people without a home. Mayor Bowser pointed to the influx of thousands of migrants arriving on buses from border states as one reason for the increase.
I don't want to go too deep into it, but this is one observation that I have about the single system.
The count was taken on a single night in late January. A closer look at the numbers show two groups with the highest increases. The number of families experiencing homelessness went up by 12%, and the number of single adults went up by 10%. Laura Zeilinger, who oversees the district's efforts to eliminate homelessness, says there's cause for concern, but progress is being made.
So we, again, are lower than we were before the pandemic. This should not be taken as the fact that we are on the wrong track.
Zeilinger says since the pandemic, the number of people living in those tent encampments has increased.
Nobody should have to be staying in a tent on our streets. We are offering services, and we will continue to do that.
In the district, Mark Seagraves, News 4.
The director tells News 4 that they are seeing more young people living on the streets and more people who are experiencing homelessness for the first time.
D.C. Public Schools taking action against at least some of the staffers responsible for paying dozens of big-dollar contracts without council approval. But the News 4 I-team found out that it may not be enough to assure that this doesn't happen again. Investigative reporter Ted Oberg joins us with the details.
There's the list of the 36 DCPS contracts paid on without council approval. In D.C., any contract over $1 million needs to be approved by council, but these weren't, and it took 3 years to discover some of them. In all, it adds up to contracts worth $260 million DC dollars. Today, DCPS says it's taken action to hold some of the people accountable.
We've identified, some places where there's a clear indication that individuals may have not followed protocol, and we've taken corrective action.
DCPS Chancellor Louis Farabee confirms DCPS employees have been disciplined over the contract issue. His comments came hours after Mayor Bowser broke that news to our colleague Mark Seagraves. Chancellor Farabee told the I-Team the contracts were approved for payment by DCPS to make sure students continued to get essential services like meals and special education. He pointed out some of them came at the height of the pandemic, but Farabee admits there was nothing preventing DCPS from providing those services and getting proper council approval. But his answers today leave a lot of questions unanswered. Farabee says their investigation continues, and because of that, he wouldn't tell us who was disciplined, how they were punished, or even whether they were low-level staffers or department heads. When we asked him to assure Washingtonians this can't happen again, even that wasn't easy.
What I would characterize this as a clear step of ensuring that, one, critical services continue for students, and ensuring that those responsible are held accountable.
And are they still in position to sign off on contracts today?
Excuse me?
Are those people still in a position to sign off or spend on contracts today?
Well, we're still investigating all that. So
yes.
Yeah, so we're investigating that.
Well, that would be yes.
Well, again, I can't comment on it.
No comment. The chancellor does understand the importance of that question, we're assured, and he assures us the investigation is ongoing and expanding to look not only at the people responsible, but the entire contracting process. This, by the way, not the last word on this. DC's council is scheduled to have hearings on this issue later this month, and it could strip the school district of its contracting authority.
All right, thank you, Ted. There's a push to compensate air travelers for cancellations and delays. This is part of a new effort to hold airlines accountable to address expenses and inconveniences by travelers. The Biden administration laid out plans today that would require airlines to provide compensation and cover expenses for stranded passengers when significant delays or cancellations are caused by something in the airline's control. Currently, when airlines cancel flights, passengers can get a refund for tickets and extra fees for items like checked baggage and seat selections. But airlines often try to persuade them instead to take a travel voucher instead of the cash. Well, this new rule would require airlines to compensate passengers and cover their expenses for things like meals, hotels, and rebooking costs. The announcement comes as part of a new push by the Biden administration to improve customer service following a turbulent year of historic delays and cancellations. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg touted this proposal as the latest way that they're helping air travelers.
We have stepped up enforcement, rules, and transparency. We've empowered passengers with better information. We've helped get $1 billion in refunds and counting back to passengers. And we have secured enforceable commitments around customer service that didn't exist just a year ago.
Although the changes were announced today, it could still take months or even years to get them put into practice, and they will likely be opposed by the airline industry. We can expect that. All right, from traffic to metro to our airports, there's no shortage of big issues that transportation leaders have to deal with around here. And the new head of the Maryland Department of Transportation is familiar with a lot of those issues because he is the former head of Metro.
And tonight, only on News 4, transportation reporter Adam Tusk goes one-on-one with Paul Wiedefeld about top priorities in his new role.
Good to see you. Right? You're in your new role.
Joining us from the New Carrollton Metro Station, Maryland's Transportation Secretary Paul Wiedefeld tells us he's getting right to work. And near the very top of his list is the problem-plagued Purple Line project, which was supposed to open this year, but likely won't start running until 2026 or even 2027.
We just got to pull this thing, across the finish line. So that's going to be my focus. I can't undo what was done in the past. It is what it is. But I'm focusing on how can we get this thing done, get it out of people's front yards and in front of their businesses, in front of the University of Maryland.
He does say he still believes the project, which will connect the Bethesda and New Carrollton metro stations through the Maryland suburbs, will be worth it. Also high up on the priority list, the Legion Bridge and Beltway Express lanes, which Wiedefeld says is a project that's now being rethought.
Will there be a new American Legion Bridge at some point?
We've got to do something with the American Legion Bridge from a maintenance perspective.
But does that mean a new bridge is coming, or you'll have to just kind of retrofit the old
We're going to
bridge?
take a look at, there's some work done by the previous contractor.
The contractor that was working on the project recently walked away, and Wiedefeld says Maryland will now have to buy back the information that contractor recorded while on the job. That's information that'll likely be critical to next steps in the process. It's going to cost about $500,000 to get that information. And listen to this answer about a possible train or bus system going across the Legion Bridge.
Has the governor said to you, look, let's take another look at transit across that structure?
The governor is very strong on transit, so we're looking at transit everywhere.
The new transportation secretary making it clear trains and buses will be a much larger priority across the state. Well, everyone has a favorite local airport, but Maryland's new transportation secretary isn't mixing messages with his thoughts.
Do you feel like you have the best airport in the region?
By far.
By far.
Oh, yeah. BWI, it's a fantastic airport. No, it really is. I mean, when you think of the convenience of that airport.
Wiedefeld is also the former head of BWI Marshall Airport, and he sees much more transit access coming to the airport. Maryland just signed an agreement to advance plans to expand MARC service into neighboring states.
MARC can go all the way to Virginia and then turn around and come all the way back up.
Right.
So that opens up tremendous doors there.
And when it comes to Metro, Wiedefeld left the agency last year with a NTSB investigation still ongoing. It was related to that 7000 series rail car wheel issue. A train derailed on the Blue Line in 2021.
Do you feel like you left there without finishing what you wanted to accomplish, or do you feel like you got?
No. I mean, as you know, I announced that I was leaving. It was time for a change. You know, those jobs are tough. And, you know, at some point you sort of wear your welcome thin, and you do that by tackling tough issues. So I think that's what we did.
Wiedefeld says he still plans to be heavily involved with Metro. His assistant transportation secretary will sit on the Metro board.
One of the other things that I asked the former general manager of Metro as far as advice to what he would give the current general manager and the Metro system in general, continue to focus on the customers. At the New Carrollton Metro Station, Adam Tuss, News 4.
Thanks, Adam. Now to Virginia. Some new developments in the battle over books in Spotsylvania County. The superintendent is proposing a change in their review policy. That has some parents fearful it'll mean even more library books being pulled from school shelves. The next school board meeting, it's happening tonight, and we're monitoring it for you. Ahead of it, the community members and parents and students were hoping to convince the board not to change the current book review policy. They held a read-in to make that happen. The most recent uproar over books started in late March when Superintendent Mark Taylor ordered librarians to remove 14 books from high school shelves that were the subject of book challenges over their sexual content. Now, Taylor is proposing a revision to the book review policy to make consideration of sexually explicit content a special category.
Our children have a right to have access to information from all different viewpoints, and I think that's an important part of the First Amendment that doesn't get talked about a lot.
Now, the superintendent declined our request for an on-camera interview and sent a statement reading in part, quote, "The proposed changes clarify and simplify the process in relation to sexually explicit material, saving time and making the challenge process more efficient."
We recently introduced you to a White Plains preteen who really wants to be a firefighter. Darian Grant went viral with his firefighter impression videos. Well, Friday, the Accokeek Fire Department showed him some professional techniques. But now it looks like they've got some recruitment competition. Yesterday, he was with Prince William firefighters, and today he trained with DC Fire.
Yesterday, we just did a tour in Prince William, and the guy there is like, I want him, so he has a lot of competition.
I think it reminds all of us of a little bit of how we were, so it's important to show what we do, right? We're humans like everybody else. We have a very tough job, and anybody that really has the drive to do it, we're welcome with open arms.
Darian's mom says he loved being in the district today, and he says that being a firefighter has been her son's dream since he was 3 years old.
Aww.
You can see he's well on his way to making that dream a reality, too.
Municipalities, they are like making the recruitment happen. They are making the case. I'm sure they're probably offering all kinds of incentives too.
Who knew what they wanted to be at 3?
Yeah, seriously.
I wanted to be a dinosaur. That's what most 3-year-olds want.
And you're nowhere near that, Leon. You're still fresh and young.
You got that right. All right, still ahead. Eating healthy on a budget. News 4's Susan Hogan is working for you.
Plus, going turquoise, why landmarks and buildings across the country are turning turquoise this week. And have you noticed some trees looking a little moldy?
Oof.
Why the problem is popping up in yards all over the area and what you can do to save your trees.
High utility bills got you down and looking to save a little dough?
Call the guy on the back of the truck.
Thinking it may be time to replace that old worn-out heating and cooling system?
Call the guy on the back of the truck.
How about a full system tune-up and inspection for just $49?
Call the guy on the back of the truck. He's FH Fur, and when it comes to plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical, he and his team of knowledgeable, highly trained technicians are absolutely the best.
877-CALL-FUR, FHFur.com.
Hey there, Tommy McFly here. We're always looking for ways to help you get your news on your time. Have you signed up for the new Forefront newsletter yet? Oh, you got to do it right now. Each read is a deep dive into one of the stories that will save you money, keep you safe, help you and your family. Trust me, each of these stories from a News4 reporter is going to be the thing that you're talking about with your friends on the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, my favorite newsletter, The Weekend Scene, obviously. The Scene team and I curate the best things to do around town, restaurants, festivals, events, those funky, cool, only in DC things delivered to your inbox once a week. Signing up, it's free and easy. NBCWashington.com/newsletters, or you can scan the QR code. Enter your email address, check the newsletters you want to receive, and boop, you've got mail. One more way, NBC4 is working for you.
I'm Tracy Wilkins with the News4 I-Team.
Hey, I'm Ted Oberg from the News4 I-Team.
I'm Susan Hogan with the News4 I-Team. Working for you means thinking like our viewers think.
Telling you that something's wrong isn't enough for the I-Team. Telling you how to fix it or how to get around those problems.
We're a part of you. We are connected to you.
Working for you means to me that I am able to be there for folks who have tried so hard to solve their own problems, and so often they can't on their own.
We are the folks who have a platform that can tell your story in a way that you sometimes can't.
When you're done spending some time with the I-Team, we've not only helped you understand what's going on in this town, but we've also helped you find solutions, find a way around the problems.
I'm one of those investigative reporters who feels like an advocate for the people I have the opportunity to serve.
That's what working for you is.
As you know, food prices have been soaring for recent months. It makes walking through the grocery store like a haunted house. You see the price tags and you're like, ah!
Pretty much. And saving money on food these days can be even harder when you're trying to make healthy choices in the process. Consumer reporter Susan Hogan is working for you with some easy ways to find budget-friendly, healthy items out there when you go shopping.
We're all still suffering from sticker shock over grocery prices, including Natalie Marie Rowe, a mom of two who shares the meals she makes her girls on Instagram.
Feeding my family healthy foods and not breaking the bank has been a challenge, especially the last year.
All those increases might have you giving up on healthy eating, but Consumer Reports says finding savings on nutritious foods begins before you head to the store. First, make a list of what you need to help avoid impulse buys. Natalie takes this tip one step further in an effort to cut corners.
Look at the sales, I look at them, I write things down, and then I create our weekly menu, depending on what's on sale.
You can also consider switching to the store brands of your favorite products.
Consumer Reports testing found that they tend to cost between 5 and 72% less than the name brand products.
And CR's taste testing experts found most of them taste just as good as the name brand. And if you live near a discount grocery store like Aldi or Lidl, their store brand products can be even cheaper. Another way to save, fill your freezer.
With frozen produce, you only have to take out as much as you need for that meal.
And if meat prices are taking too much from your family food budget, CR says one way to fight back is to try some plant-based proteins.
Plant-based foods like beans and tofu tend to be less expensive than poultry, meat, or seafood.
Finally, skip the pre-cut fruits and veggies from the store.
They may be more convenient, but the cost is often much higher per pound.
Although it may take more time to do your own slicing and dicing, it'll definitely save you money. One other piece of advice, it's what I do when I shop for groceries on Sunday for the entire week. I plan out all of my meals and I buy everything for my lunches, so I'm not going in and out of the grocery store throughout the week. That's when things really add up. I'm Susan Hogan, News 4.
Thank you, Susan. And we're working for your health with an important recall. The FDA is recalling specific pilot COVID-19 at-home tests after potentially harmful bacteria were found in the little liquid test tubes. The tests are made by SC Biosensor and were distributed by Roush Diagnostics to retailers all across the country. And the FDA says to throw the entire kit in the trash if you have one. Do not pour it down the drain. Officials say direct exposure could potentially lead to serious illness, though no illnesses have been reported so far.
This week is Lung Cancer Action Week, and the American Lung Association is hosting its annual Turquoise Takeover celebration. The organization is asking the public to wear turquoise or to light up landmarks and buildings in turquoise. The color symbolizes breath and clean air. It's part of an effort to raise awareness about the leading cancer in the country and to show support for survivors and patients with lung cancer.
When we look at lung cancer as a whole, lung cancer survival has increased by 40% over the last few years, which is great. And we now know that with lung cancer, we also have 50 more new treatments for lung cancer that are available thanks to the research and all the funds that have been raised.
In Washington, D.C., it's estimated that 350 people will be diagnosed with lung cancer in 2023. 160 is expected to die from the disease.
And there's a tiny insect causing a lot of crepe myrtle trees in our area to look sick, and people who have them are scrambling to get some answers to find out what to do. Erica Gonzalez sent us straight to the source from the garden pros at American Plant, who tell us there's a lot of people asking for help, and the short answer is no, your trees are not dead, and yes, you can save them.
It's an invasive pest from Asia that was introduced and it was found in Texas was the first time it was found. And it's basically slowly moved out of that area. The scale is actually a little tiny insect that lives under a piece of armor. And as they feed, they secrete what's called honeydew. And as that drips onto either the bark or the foliage, that's what the black sooty mold is that we see. That mold isn't necessarily going to kill the tree, especially when it's on the bark. But if it is on leaves, it does prevent those leaves from photosynthesizing. So if there's a lot of this insect on the tree, it can slow the growth down and also prevent as many blooms from occurring throughout the season. So once you see them, then you can start to think about what you can do to control and help prevent them from getting in high numbers. The easiest thing that we recommend to do is a stiff bristled brush and 1 tablespoon of soap and a quart of water, and get out and literally scrub the insect. So the other thing we recommend is horticultural oil, which is sold at garden centers throughout our area. It's a nice, safe product. The actual insect will live mostly pretty much just on the bark of the tree. But in heavily infested trees, what can be done is you can basically trim off those branches that are infested. You want to either burn or dispose of the waste. You don't want to put it in your compost bin, and you don't want to put it out for leaf or litter pickup in your municipality or county.
Today is the start of Teacher Appreciation Week, and one Hollywood star is calling for higher pay for our educators. Emmy Award-winning actress and star of the hit show Abbott Elementary, Cheryl Lee Ralph, spoke at a town hall hosted by the National PTA and the National Education Association.
Be paid to prepare your child for the future. I'm not understanding why, and I've come from a family of teachers, why we cannot get it in our heads that they are deserving.
Yes, they are. Cheryl Lee Ralph has partnered with the Sonic Foundation to help public school educators get materials. Teachers are just one group of heroes being recognized because it is also National Nurses Week. The week-long observance gives people an opportunity to honor the hard work, dedication, and care that nurses provide to our communities.
A lot of good celebrations this week.
I'm telling you, at my house, we're doing both. We got a teacher and a nurse.
There you go.
Oh, I love you all.
Hope you bought presents.
I'm on it. Coming up, never too early to start looking ahead to the weekend.
The EU open houses are on the way, and do you know what countries make up Benelux, that group? We've got their food, their fun, and their Smurfs coming up.
Hi there, Molette Green here. Every morning on News4 Today, I'm working to share your good news stories that empower.
This is Random Acts of Kindness Day, doing something good for perfect strangers. That's what it's all about.
Stories that strengthen.
This is so very special, and they have something wonderful planned to honor healthcare heroes in the community.
Stories that lift all of us up.
We believe that everyone deserves to eat. Anytime someone purchases a pizza, we're donating one away.
Spotlighting our neighbors who are working to help each other and make our community even better.
Tonight's big college fair.
An opportunity for students to apply to more than 12 colleges and universities free of charge.
And I want to share your stories too. Tell me what's happening in the community by emailing this address. We would love to hear from you, and watch us every morning from 4 to 7 on News4 Today. We're working for you.
Knowing that we have an impact when we tell our stories it's huge. One story in particular that we did was about front overs, the blind zones in front of your big SUVs, right? I'm a mom. I drive a big SUV, and I had no idea that there's a blind zone in front of my vehicle. Not just a couple of feet. We're talking upwards of 16 feet. And this story that we did when we actually lined up little kids with a mom behind the wheel.
Do you see anything right now?
Nope, I don't see anything.
The blind zone, a startling 16 feet.
Wow, that's a lot of kids.
We had Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut actually watch our story and was blown away and decided he was going to write legislation. And for me, knowing that we had a hand in legislation that maybe could save lives, gosh, you know, I'm speechless.
Next week, the city of Hyattsville is giving the community a chance to come together and celebrate Muppet visionary Jim Henson.
That's right. Henson began developing prototypes for the Muppets when he was a student at Northwestern High School. He also attended the University of Maryland, and in 1955, he debuted a nightly 5-minute show called Sam and Friends right here on WRC.
I think literally where we're sitting.
Possibly, that's right. The show set the stage for the development of the Muppet Show. On Friday, May 19th, there will be a Muppet movie sing-along at Driscoll Park in Hyattsville. And on Saturday, May 20th, there will be a big celebration at the Jim Henson Courtyard in Driscoll Park, complete with puppet making, a scavenger hunt, and much more.
So cool.
On Saturday, the nations of the European Union are going to open up their embassy gates for the annual open house.
And you can snack and sip and dance and learn your way through Europe without leaving D.C. I got a preview in the scene. Hello from Friendship Square. We are at the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. But here for EU Open House, Mr. Ambassador, you're celebrating Benelux.
B stands for Belgium, Ne for the Netherlands, and Lux is for Luxembourg. So
Benelux?
3 countries. Benelux, that's it. 2% of the territory in the EU, 6% of the people, but we almost contribute 10% of the GDP of the European Union.
Those are 3 good friends to have.
Those are great friends to have.
And so you're all coming together to welcome everyone at your embassy, but what is the theme that brings you all together?
Actually 3, earth, water and air. Well, here we have indeed exhibits. Air, for instance, Luxembourg has a model of a space satellite and a rocket, which you can see here. Bikes from the Netherlands, and we have
so many cool bikes.
So many cool bikes.
Different designs, different materials. They were so fun to check out.
Absolutely. And if you're really interested in more water after having seen that, you should go outside and have a beer, because all the 3 countries have their beers.
And you can decide for yourself which one you like the most. He's not going to make a judgment call on that.
This will be the children's playground. We have different children games. We celebrate that the Smurf, which is a Belgian creature.
The Smurfs are Belgium?
The Smurfs are Belgium, and they celebrate their 65th birthday.
I had no idea they were from Belgium.
Yes, they
wow,
are. Yeah.
Look at that.
And so we have many games for children.
Regardless of what you might think, this whole series was not just a long con for me to go snacking around Europe. But I do appreciate the snacks. What are we trying?
You're trying the stroopwafel, or stroopwafel, as you call it. And you're trying maybe after this the Dutch cheese. We also have Aruba, Curaçao and Sint Maarten, who are part of our kingdom, and they present themselves here.
Wow, a beautiful diversity of places.
Absolutely.
And if you need an extra waiter on Saturday, I clearly can be available.
Sure. You know what? I'm going to try one as well.
There you go, sir. Enjoy that good cheese from the Netherlands. I left the Netherlands with pockets full of stroopwafels.
I ain't mad at you. I'd have done the same.
They were amazing. I was like, you can keep the cheese. It was good. But the Stroots, they're coming home with me.
There you go. All right. That's going to do it for the News 4 Rundown. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Leon Harris.
And I'm Tommy McFly. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Bring your stroopwafel.